Tucked into the rolling hills of western Maryland lies Rose Hill Cemetery, a place of beauty, of memory, and of contradiction. Established in 1866, Rose Hill is Hagerstown's oldest public cemetery, home to over 43,000 interments. Winding paths lead through groves of trees and aging monuments, and there, rising quietly from the landscape, stands a brick water tower, one of the oldest structures on the grounds, a lone sentinel watching over generations past. But beneath this beautiful surface lies a striking tension, a silent, haunting proximity. Just a few hundred feet apart rest two radically different legacies. On one side, over 2,500 Confederate soldiers, men who took up arms to preserve a society built on the bondage of others. On the other, Jacob Francis Wheaton, a free black man believed to be a conductor on the Underground Railroad and the first African American to vote in the state of Maryland. This is not just a cemetery, it is a symbol of the American paradox. This is the dichotomy of freedom. Rose Hill Cemetery was established in the aftermath of the Civil War, but its grounds trace history far deeper than that. It sits on land once owned by Jonathan Hager, the founder of Hagerstown. Over the decades, the cemetery became a repository of the region's most powerful and polarizing figures. Among the marble and granite are the names of governors, judges, soldiers, and civil rights pioneers, a microcosm of the American experiment. Prominent Maryland leaders like William T. Hamilton and Preston Lane Jr., both governors of the state, are buried here. Thomas Kennedy, a 19th century legislator who famously championed the rights of Jews to hold public office in Maryland, also rests beneath this soil. And Colonel John Reagan, a commanding officer at the Battle of Bladensburg during the War of 1812, lies not far away, a veteran of one of America's early defining conflicts. Together, they form a mosaic of courage, contradiction, and complexity. Born in 1835, Jacob Francis Wheaton came into a world that told him his life mattered less, yet his story would help shape Maryland's long road towards justice. Wheaton was a free man of color at a time when freedom was fragile. He lived in Hagerstown through the Civil War and Reconstruction, working as a laborer and quietly building a legacy rooted in dignity and resistance. He is believed to have aided enslaved individuals in their escape northward, possibly as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. Though the details are scarce, oral histories persist. If true, it would make Wheaton part of a brave underground network that risked everything to defy a brutal system. But his most widely recorded achievement came in 1870. The 15th Amendment had just granted black men the right to vote, and Jacob Wheaton made history as the first African American to cast a ballot in Maryland. No fanfare, no speech, just one man stepping into a polling place and saying with his vote, "I belong here too." Not far from Wheaton's grave lies the Confederate section of Rose Hill Cemetery, one of the largest in Maryland. More than 2,500 Confederate soldiers are buried there. Many re-interned from battlefields across the state. They fought in battles like Antietam and South Mountain. Young men from Maryland, Virginia, and beyond swept into a war fought over the right to enslave. Though history has cast them in many lights, heroes to some, traitors to others, their cause was clear. To preserve a way of life, they denied basic rights to people like Jacob Wheaton. Some lie under named headstones, most in a large circular mass grave, forgotten by name but not by ideology. And what does it mean, really, that they now lie so close to the man who stood for everything they opposed? Roughly 100 feet. That's all that separates Jacob Wheaton from thousands of men who would have denied him a vote, a voice, even his freedom. It's not just physical proximity, it's symbolic. In death, they share the same hill. Does this speak to reconciliation, irony, or is it something more unsettling? How does a society remember both the liberator and the oppressor under the same canopy of trees? The answer may lie not in choosing one memory over the other, but in acknowledging the tension between them. Wheaton's grave also shares this land with the likes of Governor William T. Hamilton, who served in Congress before becoming Maryland's 38th governor and later Rose Hill's first president, and Preston Lane Jr., who led the state during the post-World War II boom. These were men who shaped Maryland's political destiny, some for better, some for worse, but none bore the weight that Wheaton carried, of being both a citizen and a symbol. Thomas Kennedy, also buried there, fought for civil rights in the 1800s, pushing to end religious discrimination. Though a white man, his legacy harmonizes with Wheaton's, two threads in the same tapestry of progress. And yet, around them lie those who fought to resist that progress. This is the contradiction of Rose Hill Cemetery, a place where justice, oppression, progress, and resistance all sleep side by side. Jacob Francis Wheaton was not a general, not a governor, not a man of wealth or title, but he cast the first vote. He opened the door, and now his legacy endures, etched into the soil of a cemetery filled with contradictions, where soldiers of slavery lie beside soldiers of freedom, where pioneers of rights rest near defenders of privilege, where the past refuses to stay buried. In Rose Hill Cemetery, the story of America is not told in one voice. It is a chorus of conflict, courage, and change. And in that chorus, Jacob Wheaton's voice still rises.